Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaRakakadash, double and the elder apostles, grand millstone of all well, and Shalom to all the brothers doing the work, carrying truth, pushing this word to the four corners. Interesting little article here on China and how they've been pushing with, further, kind of powers, especially just digital. Because a lot of things over the course of this year, it's like a lot of the digital ID, a lot of the aspects of the B system, especially when it comes to that mark, been getting pushed through. And a lot of things you see in China as like a precursor to what, is going to get pushed through on this side. Because, you already have, the Sesame credits, the social credit score system, where, access to, transport, even leaving your region, schools, all kinds of things that impacted, where they have that system in effect. Even taking like long distance trains, if you lose that score. And these are things that, desired for Esau to bring in. So this is on the Washington Post. It says, Big Brother gets new powers in China with digital ID system. China is launching a digital ID system giving Beijing greater control over online activity and further raising concerns about surveillance and citizenships. So it says China has long mastered what was once impossible, completely controlling the internet within its borders. On Tuesday, Beijing will take another step towards centralizing its power over the web, introducing a government-run digital ID system that will enable it to even more closely censor and surveil the country's 1 billion internet users. And yeah, it's something they've, even with, things at the current stage, they've got like a level of control that you really don't see elsewhere. Which is, it's kind of mad. But that's would be really desired in the West. Damn, hold on, slut. So yeah, China's enforced a real name registration system for over a decade, meaning that Chinese internet companies almost always know the true identity of users who are, say, ordering a dress online, leaving a social media comment, or playing a video game. Yeah, because they mentioned video games. There was, I think it was 2021, maybe 2022, they put in restricting kids in school like ability to play games. So it's like, because obviously it's tied to your ID, you would have like a certain amount of time you could a certain amount of time that you could play. I think it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours, something to that extent. And then when you went beyond that, then you would get you would get thingy restricted on what you could do. And that's been like says there's a new with With the new centralized ID system, the Chinese government will take over the process. Users who submit a trove of personal information, including scans of their face, scans of their faces, will receive a unique code to access online accounts. So yeah, you have the the biological aspect of where it's linked to, your person as well. It's not just they have, all your details. They know who you are connected to your account. They'll have biotech as well. So your fingerprints as well. Well, face scan, but possibly fingerprints. Some of them have them stored. Uh, but I don't know. I don't know if they actually have that push in China just yet. So this means that companies like social media site Weibo or online shopping behemoth Alibaba will no longer be able to see the personal information of users with digital IDs, but Chinese authorities will be able to see the real identity behind online accounts across a range of sites. I think was it so I think previously I might be mixing up with a different country. No, I think previously they had to the different companies had to take all the details of the people using it. So if the government asked, they could line up whatever a user's doing with their online thing. But I guess we'll see. So it says, although voluntary experts fear it may not remain so, or that it will become so widely required as to make it effectively compulsory. And yeah, that's the thing as well. Is it comes in as oh you can fuck with it if you want to thing initially, and then over time it always kind of ramps up, and that's just a given, man. I can't even lie. Like it's just a given at this point. Kind of funny. Um, because even in the UK, it's like, man, bro, it's the digital IDs. It was Tony Blair pushing that through. That motherfucker came in like '97. Uh, or national ID it was originally, where it was just one ID that has like everything kind of tied to it. But now that's something that's got through, and you have to deal with it. But what does it say? It's hard to look at these steps like this and see an intention to make people not feel anonymous, said Laura Edelson, and that's the same thing that was said over here in the UK. They said they don't want people. They're saying, oh, because of online trolling, blah blah blah. They don't want people to be able to be anonymous online. So it was a big push was to have to have it so people can't be anonymous, and that's it's obvious when you look at it. And going into the full beast system, what the elites desire to do with it. Of course, while they basically want financial aspect, your personal ID aspect, all these things tied to who you are. So it says people not feel anonymous, said Laura Edelson, a computer scientist at Boston's Northeastern University, who co-wrote a recent report on China's online censorship system. They want the policeman to be in your head, and a really important way to make people feel that policeman in their head is removing any illusion that someone might have that they're anonymous. And yeah, it's funny because even with the anonymity online, so a lot of people willingly throw that shit away. It's like social media, especially. Even something like Instagram is obviously about just kind of like showing off your perfect life. So it makes a bit more sense for people to kind of put their face, when they're out doing things, they're going overseas, whatever, on there. And it might be more with close friends, but even then, on to Twitter, Facebook, etc., people put details in there and then kind of go and say the wildest shit. So it's funny. An aspect of it is they've kind of people have opened up to it as well. And then there's always the argument which was done from like now after 9/11, where they said if you've got if you've got nothing to hide, um something, so if it's like, if you shouldn't be afraid if you've got nothing to hide, or you shouldn't need any privacy if you've got nothing to hide, which makes no sense anyway, but it's a justification to then be like, okay, well, we can push through certain things, make certain things legally required. So it says The rules for the policy, which was proposed last year, were announced in May by 6 government departments, including China's Domestic Security Agency, which incorporates the police force, and its internet regulator. They justified the change on data privacy grounds, saying the ID will better protect individuals' sensitive information from social media companies, data leaks, and forces. So yeah, it was. They had to put, like, each of the individual companies had to maintain like a database of the details of everyone. And they're saying, oh, the government managing it is going to be safer. But then that means that because every service that, Alibaba or Weibo or whatever, you're going to have to go to they're going to use the government system to verify whoever it is. So then absolutely every service you're using, they're just going to have a port of call. Okay, you're using this, that. So they can, it becomes centralized, becomes easier. And these forms of control, this is what the elite are desirous of. And, the UK especially. But, US is going to come through as well, man. That's with Palantir, with, ICE being expanded, the level of funding they've been given, and the depths they can kind of just go in. It's like they've essentially stripped, illegals of like even human rights. Man could just come in, grab you up, choke slam you, and then, do whatever they desire, ship you off somewhere, and, it's justified. So that could, that's something where, and you have the domestic tea era, where with that angle, you're going to have people, with that angle, you're going to have, the hell is that? A justification to treat people as if, to suspend their human rights. And the UK, again, you have the example with, Shamima Begum, where, she was 15, she fucked off to apparently, go and fly off to Syria, or wherever the fuck it was at the time. Or was it Iraq? I can't even remember. And then, she was stripped of her citizenship, and then, she's like a no person. Like, she didn't even get a chance to defend her. So no representation in court, no nothing. It's just like, oh, okay, she went off, she did that. Okay, now she's done. She's cooked. And it's with, once you've kind of opened up those avenues, then you can justify, okay, well, we're, you lose certain rights. You can lose them rights. Which is the same thing with Patriot Act. You lose them rights, you get stripped of them rights. And then the state can do whatever the fuck they want with you. Ezekiel 20:2, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Most High Power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thine heart as a heart of God. And yeah, that's a big aspect. That's a big angle of how, these things get pushed through. Is Esau, really it's the elite of Esau, trying to enshrine themselves, perfect themselves as they believe they can within the role of a god on earth. You already have Esau deified to a certain extent. You have a lot of people where they kind of look to, and their whole angle and approach is they're thinking like, okay, yeah, what this man says, what he does, that's the pinnacle, that's the peak. That's what we want to be fucking with. But, the reality, the fullness of it is what? Is that even true? Kind of funny still. And is that even true? But that's like a lot of people are, whether they know it or not, to the full extent, they've accepted this man as like, God over them. They see the society as the peak of everything. This is what they're invested in. This is what they want to continue. But then, the fullness of that is he's, going to be shown to be just a man. And then, all that technology, all these so-called blessings, that seems like who can even contend with him. And that's what they're thinking back in the time of Rome as well. Even back then, 2,000 years ago, they were like, who can even contend with this guy? These things are all going to be found like, oh, okay, nah, he's just a man. He really wasn't on that level. It says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel, and there is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. Yeah. Wiser than Daniel. You've been given a supreme capabilities. But completely criminal what he's been done with it, man. Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will not learn righteousness. He's really got, as far as if the elite desired, there's a wide variety of things they could do out here that would, better, life existing in this plane for a lot of people. But these guys have no care, no interest, no investment in doing that. It's really about, their desires, which is, having these people in a hardcore bondage, man. Huh. But yeah, I think there was a bit more. Yeah. So it says, critics, however, say the system will lead to centralization of data. So back in the article, a bit further down, it says, critics, however, say the system will lead to centralization of data in the hands of the Chinese government, which already enjoys access to reams of personal data about its citizens. Beijing may more easily find all of the digital accounts registered by one person, experts say, though the ID probably does not provide access to the activity or browsing history of those accounts. Not off rip, but they can probably get that shit, man. That's kind of the joke as well. Kind of funny. I understand that functionally they can get information on online activity now. So Jessica Batke, a senior investigations editor at the online magazine Chinophile, who wrote the report on Chinese censorship with Edelson. But anytime that you're pushing that sort of information into one centralized place that the government has access to, I do think it represents an important change. And yeah, so experts are also concerned that the system could make it easier for Beijing to enforce digital exile, where individuals are locked out of the online apps and services required for many daily activities in China, including paying for lunch, taking the subway, or communicating with co-workers. Yeah. And that's where, the centralization comes in. Because, both, was the saying, Revelation 13. So, was it big and great? No. Small and great. You know what, let me actually just get. Both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. Yeah. So, no matter what scale or scope you're on, then they can just cut you off. And that's really why everyone's going to be in it, Right now, these celebrities might enjoy, even like social media influencers or certain people of certain statuses might be able to think, okay, they're cut above. But then with, this system, it's all just going to be, it's all going to be squashed down. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom.